Shifting our focus to the Russia-Ukraine war, after the fall of Pokrovsk, eastern Ukraine is now focused on a new strategic flashpoint, the city of Seversk. This comes as Moscow claims its forces have taken control, but Kyiv insists that the fight is far from over. Video released by the Russian Defense Ministry shows troops posing with flags in Seversk. Russian President Putin praised his forces after commanders told him that the city of Seversk had been captured. Moscow said its troops overcame Ukrainian defenses through targeted assaults.
The
liberation of the city of Seversk and the successful offensive operations in this direction significantly advance a new, successful, I have no doubt about it, offensive in other directions, expelling Ukrainian armed forces from our territory and restoring peaceful life in the Donbass.
Now remember, Seversk sits on key supply routes in Donetsk and is a stepping stone towards Slovyansk, which is one of the last major cities held by Ukraine in the region. Whoever controls Seversk can shape the direction of future offensives. Russian forces also claim to capture nearby cities, including Kucherovka and Kurilovka. However, Kyiv rejects Moscow's claims. Ukraine's Operation Task Force says the city remains under Ukrainian control, with troops blocking infiltration attempts. Ukraine also reports fierce fighting in the northern districts of Pokrovsk, where Russian units have tried to break through. In fact, Ukrainian soldiers were also seen reinforcing fortifications near Pokrovsk. Now, Pokrovsk, remember, was also claimed by Moscow on the 1st of December. It happened just days ahead of American envoys holding talks with President Putin. But 10 days later, Ukraine continues to claim that they still hold parts of the city. Ukraine is, remember, also engaged in intense diplomatic efforts. Volodymyr Zelensky says that Kyiv has presented the U.S. with a revised 20-point framework to end the war.
We are ready to work with President Trump in any format. And if President Trump is speaking more about elections in Ukraine, I want to say this very openly. We can try to hold elections. Ukraine is not hiding from democracy, but to make elections possible, there must be a security component, and America can help with this the most.
Now, with Pokrovsk still partially contested and Seversk at the center of the next clash, both Moscow and Kyiv are digging in. The Donetsk front remains highly contested, and the fate of Seversk can change the direction of the war. As diplomacy continues behind the lines, but on the battlefield, the fight is far from over. All right, shifting our focus now to Sudan, where tensions are rising along the Sudan and South Sudan border after a deadly drone strike on one of the region's most important oil facilities. The attack comes just hours after the Rapid Support Forces seized the Helig, which is the oil hub of both the countries. Take a look at this report for more details.
A deadly drone strike has hit the Heglig oil facility in Sudan, killing dozens just hours after the RSF captured the site near the South Sudan border. The RSF accuses the Sudanese army of deploying a Turkish-made Akinci drone. Both sides confirm the strike but say the full toll is still unknown. Local reports say tribal leaders and RSF fighters are among the dead. South Sudan confirms 3 of its soldiers were killed in the blast. The attack followed a mass surrender of about 3,900 Sudanese troops who fled into South Sudan, a day after the RSF took Heglig without resistance. tanks, armored vehicles and artillery handed over by the retreating soldiers, marking a major shift on the ground. The fighting has sparked a new refugee surge with thousands crossing into South Sudan. The country insists it is neutral even as control of Heglig threatens its crucial oil export routes. However, analysts are also hinting at foreign forces in play.
The conflict in Sudan is going to spill over because of the external forces that are in play. We have the other forces like Turkey and the likes and the company supporting Sudan army. And then we have the others like IAU, Saudi Arabia, and the proxies like Kenya also supporting him. So the conflict is going to spill over because of vested interest. And we don't see the end of this conflict soon because of the heavy interest of these people.
The stakes are critical for South Sudan's. These pipelines is its primary source of revenue for its export routes. Further disruption could deepen its economic crisis as it is already strained by years of instability and mass displacement. As the drone smoke settles over Heglig, the attack has laid bare just how vulnerable the region's oil corridor has become. A single strike and a single oil field now threaten to pull both nations deeper into uncertainty and deeper into conflict.
Shifting focus to Russia now, where amid the war, Moscow's upscale Patriarch Pons district, known locally as Patriki, seems to be losing the luxury sheen that once made it a symbol of post-Soviet prosperity. For years, the neighborhood was synonymous with wealth, high-end restaurants, exclusive nightclubs, flashy cars, and a social scene that attracted Moscow's elite. According to a report by the Associated Press, that picture is now shifting. A senior director at the consulting firm called CMWP, Polina Afanasyeva, says that at least 16 premium venues have shut down this year alone, replaced increasingly by low-cost coffee shops and modest retail outlets. Residents are now starting to take notice. Some say that the closures reflect the simple reality of soaring operating costs. Others say that the district feels noticeably quieter, with businesses shifting their focus or shuttering entirely.
Well, restaurants are closing down now. Why? Well, because restaurants, of course, are very expensive here, because rent is insanely expensive on the ground floors of buildings.
It's become quieter, and many of the shops have changed their purpose, I think. Well, it's hard to say why. Woman on left. It probably wasn't economically viable to maintain those old ones.
But the reasons go beyond just high rent. As per analysts, rising personal costs are to blame as restaurants struggle to compete with Russia's high military wages, inflation-driven declines in consumer spending, and the broader macroeconomic pressures created by sanctions amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. Even well-established restaurants are buckling under the weight of Russia's economic environment.
Rents have skyrocketed, and that's why you see so many restaurants leaving.
Some restaurants openly said that the growth of rental rate had affected business profitability, and the decision on closure was taken. There are also global economy factors. For instance, the high price of debt financing, the high key rate. The expenses for personnel are growing, and the general solvency of the population, including those who come to the Patriarch Pons.
As per international observers, the CEO of Macro Advisory, Chris Wafer, says that sanctions, inflation, and 4 years of war have all changed consumer behavior, reshaping Moscow's lifestyle economy.
You see more kind of cheap coffee shops opening, more expensive restaurants, perhaps fewer of them. And even, when you go into some kind of expensive restaurants, the menu choices are significantly smaller than used to be the case. So there's no doubt that, after 4 years of this conflict and sanctions, that there is an impact on lifestyles.
From a glittering symbol of Russia's boom years, Patriki, it seems, is now adjusting to a new reality. Fewer luxury patrons, fewer luxury businesses, and an economy that no longer is able to sustain the lifestyle that the district was once known for. Moving on, the people of Gaza are facing a new disaster, one that has arrived on the heels of 2 years of relentless war. Torrential rain has flooded dozens of displacement camps, leaving families who have already lost so much struggling just to stay dry and alive. Take a look at our next report.
Torrential rain has swept across the Gaza Strip, flooding hundreds of tents. Families who survived 2 years of war are now facing a new life-threatening emergency. A family in Khan Yunis woke up and found their 18-month child among the casualties. The loss is shattering and a symbol of the daily struggle which thousands of Gazans are facing without proper shelter.
We were sleeping normally. It was raining and cold. I don't have a tent or anything to make her warm. I fed her and there was nothing wrong with her. When we woke up, we found the rain over her and the wind on her, and the girl died of cold suddenly.
Displaced Palestinians are spending nights on their feet trying to keep their little ones out of the water. With foods ruined and belongings washed away, survival is once again an uncertain possibility.
All night long, the children and I were on our feet, all night long on our feet. If I, the adult, can't handle it, how about the little children, these children? How can these children handle it? Even our food and drinks that they give us in aid, there are no food or drinks left, no food or drinks. Film the boxes of food and drinks so you can see how they have all fallen on the ground. The flour fell, everything fell.
Municipal and defense teams are overwhelmed. Fuel and vehicle shortages have left them unable to answer more than 2,500 emergency calls. The United Nations International Organization for Migration says almost 800,000 displaced people are living in low-lying, rubble-filled areas where water accumulates quickly and drainage is almost non-existent. The International Organization for Migration says basic materials like timber, plywood, sandbags and water pumps have not been allowed into Gaza due to access restrictions. Israel insists aid is entering and accuses agencies of mismanagement. Aid groups have been completely denying these allegations, with more than 1.5 million people still displaced and 300,000 new tents urgently needed. The humanitarian situation remains dire. After 2 years of relentless war, Gaza's most vulnerable are now facing a new threat, one that cannot be stopped by a ceasefire. For hundreds of thousands of families, floodwaters are rising faster than help can arrive.